Hey there, my fellow fiefdom vassals. Rhadamant here. Thank you for tuning in to Stellaris Overlord, Episode 5. Ooh, and I was just contacted by the Curator Order. Where are they? So the Curator Order is what is called an enclave. They're not like the... Well, I guess they're kind of like the Marauder clans. The Marauder clans would be a militaristic enclave. The Curator Order is a scientific enclave. And what I could do is I could ask them to aid me in my research by giving them 1,000 energy credits every 10 years. And they would, in turn, help me research the things in the universe. So I'm actually going to do that. So I've purchased the service. And then over here, you'll see Curator Insight, 10%. So my research rate has gone up another 10%. So we have 5 for the admin AI, 10 for the Curator Insight. Then we also have the Discovery Tradition Finish 10%, and the Technological Ascendancy 10%. So really pouring a lot of investment into the research rate. Oh, he did notice? Did Yoda eat that, or did he knock it off his pedestal? You get the impression I like research? Well, we are a Scholarium, or whatever they're called. We are the Scholarium specialist type, so yeah. I do like research. Interestingly, the other two vassals are just regular vassals. They're not specialized in any way. They're not bulwark or miners. They're not military or miners. Technological advancement. Thanks to many years with the Holy Storm Rider and Empire, we have been able to focus much of our efforts on building and improving the internal networks of our empire. With our scientists and engineers hard at work, we have seen our colonies blossom in those last years. As things one would have thought a fantasy only a few years back suddenly become not only real, but even commonplace. So, what I end up getting is, for 20 years, I get 3% for engineering, physics, and societal research. Hey, it pays off. It paid off. And we got another probe to
situation log updated.
To recover. So Tannering finally got up to this probe, and I'm going to go recover it for the survey data of Costan here. The Overlord does actually start with a tech advantage and territory advantage. They started off with 3 planets, but the way they're designed, the Indolent Empire, or Indolent Overlord, is that they don't really engage with combat that much, and they don't expand their borders that much. So it's not like a normal AI where they think for themselves exactly. They're kind of designed to not spread. They're sort of like a pseudo-fallen empire relied upon us vassals. A subject's duty. As the emissary is about to arrive to the Holy Samaritan Empire, we have decided how willing we are to share our latest designs and creations with our Overlord. It would surely be appreciated if we were to do so, but it could be that they will take more direct control of where we focus our efforts moving forward. I'm going to keep most of it for ourselves. Alright, so here's that science ship, and in order to hop to this unknown sector, I am going to need to put a scientist in there. The thing is, this scientist might not live very long, so I'm going to hire out Eager, because he's half the cost and half the upkeep, and might die tonight or tomorrow. But his name, until then, will be Crumb Jr. So Crumb Jr., good luck, because you might be the shortest-lived leader in our empire by, like, many, 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 many years. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get to this unknown sector. But I think that this station might shoot at me instead. Yeah, it is shooting at me. No, I jumped. Oh, wonderful. So I'm at Paugol, hopped past Kursek, able to survey space that was otherwise locked to me because of the marauders blocking me. They started a fire on me, but I managed to jump through anyway, which opens up a huge expansion possibility down this way, provided there's an empire that has already laid claim to it. Which actually indicates that this guy up here, I'm not going to colonize that backtrack just yet. I'm going to go to Lambda Serpentis, because I want to go from Lambda Serpentis to Muse to Pagol, as that is a direction of actual expansion, whereas this is just a dead end.
Research project concluded.
Okay, and we'll go for the last probe data here. Now. I'm clearing out some of the terrain blockers. So on your home planet, there's just generic industrial wasteland terrain blockers. Actually, don't need to do that yet, so I'm not going to tie up my energy credits doing that. Taking a look at my empire right now, I would say an industrial district for my homeworld is probably best. But as you can see, I'm actually producing robots now. I don't think I have any robots in my population yet, but in 51 months, I will have 1 robot, which should make my materialists happy. The raffle for Lambda Serpentis will be pretty soon, because I'm annexing it now, so
discovered.
Resetting the eligibilities, and good luck to you all.
Situation log updated.
Okay, we also have a new tradition to go with, because we had finished up Discovery, so here is our second tradition. So, new tradition choice. We'll have adaptability. And I'll sort of re-summarize what they all mean. Harmony. Prosperity. Supremacy. Unyielding. Or domination. So adaptability would increase the amount of, or increase the amount of food that I make, increase habitability, allow us to build one more thing on each planet, and give us some defense if we're getting orbitally attacked. Harmony gives us longer living leaders, a larger edicts fund, more stability, more governing ethics attraction. Prosperity increases the amount of minerals that we mine, increases the stability and resource from the jobs that we have, and then decreases the tax cost and burden of structures and districts that we build. Supremacy is militaristic attacking, larger navy, stronger army. Unyielding is greater defenses, bigger bulwarks, a defensive, the ability to fight stronger in defensive wars in our own territory. And then domination is to dominate other empires, to subject them to our will. So that's the subset of choices there, and you can pick what we do next. And research. So my societal researcher got what? I forget. You got more society research from researchers. So next up, we'll go with adaptive bureaucracy for an additional edicts fund. Because if I can get 45 edicts, my edicts fund up to 45, I could switch over to research subsidies from Map the Stars, which gives me more research instead of better surveying. Hi, Tie-Dye. Thanks for the raid. I'll give you a shout out if Nightbot works today, or right at this moment. Welcome, Raiders. You were playing RimWorld. Well, howdy. Tell me about your RimWorld series, and here is a little about command telling you what I'm working on over here. So the eradicators that I live next to just spouted insults at me, which is cute. Really couldn't care. And at the moment, it looks like their fleet power, tech, and economy is equivalent to my own. So we're pretty equally matched if I was to declare war. We also found a new archaeology site in Pagol. It is a Strange Flows site. It's a molten planet, which is flowing strangely.
Anomaly detected.
And yet another anomaly. Irregular energy emissions, which I'm leaving for now so I can survey instead. My YouTube series inspired you to play RimWorld? Well, welcome. I appreciate you rating me, then. That's awesome. Alright, looks like Prosperity is going to be our next choice. So Prosperity, the adoption, gives our mining stations a 20% additional output. Finishing it off gives our workers 5% additional resource production. Additional stability, which reduces crime, and then unlocks an Ascension perk, but they all do that. And then the individual traditions in here is admin operations, which decrease the upkeep for districts and buildings. There is also the standard construction templates, which allows you to reduce the build cost for buildings and districts and increase the speed at which you build them. Creative collectives, which increases the specialist pop resource output by 5%, which is like metallurgists and artisans making alloys and consumer goods. Interstellar franchising, which city districts provide one additional clerk job, so you can employ more people with city districts and trade districts. And then Ring Worlds also gain additional clerk jobs. And then Public Works Division, which is that each house provides more housing. Oh, okay. The final days. The archaeologists working on the Star Petal have gathered sufficient clues and evidence to paint a reasonably clear picture of the station's final days. A stray asteroid impacted the station, knocking into orbit that would soon plunge it into Gusius 5's atmosphere. The station-keeping thrusters could not compensate, and the command staff soon issued an evacuation order. Unfortunately, the station had enough escape pods to evacuate a fraction of its passengers, and mass panic soon erupted. Those that were not trampled to death perished when the station's environmental systems failed as it drifted deeper into the gas giant. And we're working on the last chapter now. So it's, you can't actually physically see the Star Petal, but it's somewhere around Gusius 5. It's a cheery story. It's a Titanic story, if you will. All right, here comes Lambert's Tempest. So it is being given away to Turdinus. Congrats. It also happens to have a continental world there, which will need to be terraformed so that we can inhabit it, but it's a massive world, so it's a huge potential for an amazing boon once terraformed. It also has low gravity, so the building cost is reduced, but because of the low gravity, its habitability is reduced, so it really needs to be terraformed. But if I terraform it and colonize it, you will have a colony named after you at some point. And then the next
research project concluded.
Oh, there we go. All probes have been recovered, and that completes the sublight exploration probes event chain for 900 engineering research and 787 energy credits. Boom, done. All right, this researcher here, I'm going to send to just continue to explore these systems. They're not likely to be surveyed because I think they probably already belong to whoever owns them, but at least it fills in the map a bit better. And might as well have him do that while he's out there, because for him to then be retasked down here would take a long time. I mean, that's like a year's journey or longer. Sylvanti Prime absolutely needs more work. There's no additional housing, no additional jobs, so I'm going to build another agricultural district. I'm trying to shift the responsibility of feeding our empire from Yoda Prime over to Sylvanti Prime. So we'll start to set Sylvanti Prime up as our breadbasket world. It's already auto-designated as an agro world, which means that the farmer output is increased by 25%, and the district speed builds 25% faster. It is auto-designated, but if we wanted to manually designate it, we could click this button and just pick what kind of world we want. And each type provides different benefits. So a forge world allows you to build districts faster and upkeep the metallurgist more cheaply. Factory world, kind of the same thing with consumer goods, so on and so forth. Refinery world, etc. So obviously with Sylvanti Prime being an agro world, it auto-designated correctly, but that doesn't always happen. If you have like two different things that you're designing a world to be, let's say I had an admin center here, it could designate it as a bureaucracy world instead. So it allows you to manually designate, and that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to pick agro world now to designate it manually. Your core world, your empire capital, doesn't have designations. It's just the capital world, so it can't change. It's required to be your capital world. There is something called ascension tiers. You can spend a good bucket of unity to increase the benefit of whatever designation it has. So, for instance, in Sylvanti Prime, if we spent 670 unity, we could increase the designation effects by a quarter, which would then add even more farmer output out of it. So it allows you to just specialize the planet even further. You don't think I've ever seen me build specialized starbase like jammers and such? I do. I do that, like comms jammers. In field you know what I should do is I should build a disruption field generator here at Spicy Jazz. So the reason I don't normally build it is it's mostly, yeah, as Chrome Jr. says, it's mostly late game. And also, like, if I built a specialized thing here, it would have a energy upkeep. So right now I only make 32 excess energy credits a month, and if I built like a comms jammer or a disruption field, it just whittles down the amount of some profit that I have. So if it's not actually all that useful to me, it's just expensive to upkeep. I do build a lot of resource silos though, because they're free. They don't have upkeep. But if I wanted to have Spicy Jazz be an absolute guaranteed bottleneck, I could do a disruption field, which stops, or a comms jam or something like that to improve the combat effectiveness of this station. But it's an anchorage station right now, so it doesn't really need to do that. But I do use them in special situations, or when I have such a powerful economy that I can afford to just have all these special districts and whatnot. So here, Tannering found another system that is unsurveyed by me, so I will explore that. Oh, and this is my first resource cache.
Log updated.
So the way these work is in Talar the Storm, there is a anomaly here that is going to net me research if I go there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have Fugel 6 stop his archaeology site to go get that.
Construction online.
And then go back to the archaeology site afterwards. Alright, and we're annexing Muse, so that's going to be yet another giveaway. Good luck to you all once it's added.
New technology discovered.
And we got miniature containment fields. What's next? I'm going to invest in a fusion reactor. Bigger power for our ships. Generally speaking, I invest in fusion reactors or like power generation for ships and then weapons, because if you invest in the weapons first, you can't actually power the weapons, so you can't really use them. Do I use platforms? I do, but only if I have like a maxed out bastion or at super choke points like L gates or gateways or wormholes and things like that. Because again, they're expensive. if I was to build defensive platforms here at Spicy Jazz, it has, significant upkeep. Almost like it's another ship. Or multiple ships. The sort of the way I tend to play this game at a high level, a high concept level, is I'm always constantly reinvesting into my economy and my research. Because if you continue to do that, which is similar to like real life saving money, for instance, it starts to compound. So as you continually reinvest in your economy in this game, it starts to compound where you can grow larger and larger and larger compared to your opponents. So all fights whittle down to economic fights. Because as long as you're able to manufacture ships, and as long as your enemies are able to manufacture ships, you're basically just throwing your economy at the enemy's economy. And unless you've dramatically mismanaged your own military, the larger economy tends to win. And this is true in almost every strategy game. If you're playing StarCraft, if you can make 10 units and they can make 5 units, you win. Like, even if you don't micromanage them well, you'll likely win if you're out producing them 2-1, right? So in Stellaris or in any other strategy game, I always find that generally speaking, investing in economy is, unless you have an immediate threat where you need a military now or you're wiped off the map, continually investing in your economy is generally the winning strategy for long-term games. There's a lot of carve-outs and caveats, but that's how I would sort of classify my high-level strategy in Stellaris, is just go economy and go research, because research and economy leads to more economy and more research, which leads to being a lot more powerful in the long run. You know what? I'm going to build a spy network with my against the Prince Electorate that I neighbor, because I kind of want to see how strong they are too.
Construction online.
They're belligerent. That's their stance. And I don't really want them slopping me around. Oh, and Mios, you're going to be named. Spicy Jazz, you keep winning these. Have you rigged them? I am Nick the Good. There we go. You win a war by being able to afford to fight it. There's a perfect real-world example of that today. Yes, I don't usually go into politics, but if you look at the war in Ukraine, or the invasion of Ukraine,
incoming transmission,
with really strong Western economies propping up the defender, the aggressor, who has far less of an economy compared to the Western powers propping up the defender, one side can afford the war, the other side cannot. Simply put. So here we have the Hontak Galactic Hierarchy. It's these guys. They're not part of the vassal system of my overlord, so I'm going to establish an embassy with them. I'll agree to that. I think they could be potentially good long-term allies. So all that an embassy really does is
anomaly detected.
Increase the sort of relationship that I have with them. Right now we have a relationship of 136, and it's going up, as you can see by this green arrow. Oh, another anomaly. Cool.
Research project concluded.
And there's the engineering cache. So this engineering cache was the one at Talar the Storm, and I got this cache as a result of surveying, and it just gives me a sum of 3,000 engineering
System
research,
surveyed.
which is quite a lot. Quite a lot of progress towards ceramo metal armor. I'm going to build a second construction ship because I have a engineering research station here that I have not yet annexed, and then I can also annex Batrack too. And this researcher is going to head back to Gusius Oh. The Shim Raiders had a shuttle that I salvaged because I share a border with them. So I just gained some bonus energy credits out of nowhere. Don't tell them, though. They'd be upset.
New technology discovered.
And the ceramo metal armor is done, so that gives my ships armor level 2. And for the next research project, I'm going to go with 0G refineries to increase the mining station output up a bit. So now that I have metal ceramo armor, if we take a look at the ship designs here of the Lore of the Noob ships, as you can see, it automatically installed the ceramo metal armors in place of the level 1. So if I uncheck the hide obsolete components, it raises the armor from 50 to 65 per section. So previously the ships were like this, and because I have the auto upgrade enabled here, it gave me the metal ceramo armor automatically, which then means that for me to install those in these ships, I have to retrofit for 112 alloys, and I'll do that. And then at the shipyard, it queues up all 20 ships that I have to be retrofitted up to the current designs, which is to incorporate that metal ceramo armor. And one of the net benefits you'll see is the military power of this fleet right now is 742. It should be going up for the retrofits because the fleets are becoming stronger. So you can actually see the power of this fleet ticking upwards as it gets retrofitted. Not by a lot, but by a little. Alright, so this is a dangerous maneuver. Again, we are going to enter this system and sneak around to go to Pagel. This construction ship might perish in the attempt, but good luck! And I'm going to keep going out to the bottlenecks. It's pretty crazy that for the first almost 4 hours, my priority really hasn't changed. Explore potential expansion systems. I'm playing really slow and methodically so I can explain everything as I go, but at the start of the game, you want to expand as fast as you can out to the borders of enemy empires. So here is the new construction ship, and I'm going to go get backtrack. Actually, I'm not. I'm going to build this engineering station because I plan on this construction ship getting Pagel. It's more tactically important to get Pagel. Crap. Than it was backtrack. But I did just find a fallen empire here. I say crap because we have a fallen empire of holy guardians that I will say hi to friendly because they're so much more powerful than I am. They could blink me out of existence in about a month. So they are somewhere down here. But I think I can snake past them here. It looks like I'm not going to be blocked in by them. But I only have one path to get around them, which is Cosmalian, whatever this is, and so on and so forth. And there's also an undiscovered empire here. As you can see, this sort of purple border. And they probably share a border with the Eradicators here. So potentially allies if their ethos lines up with mine. If they don't, well...
Construction ship requesting assistance.
More enemies on my borders. So here's the construction ship trying to jump out. And it made it. And now in Pagel, the cost of adding Pagel to my empire is doubled. And the reason is it's 2 hops away. So it increases for each additional hop. So if I was to build next to my empire, it'd be 112. And then a 2 hop is going to be 224. A 3 hop would be, 336 and then 448 and so on and so forth. It goes up each, unit. It's not exponential. It just ticks up like that. What are you working on? Okay, so this science ship is going to survey. It's already in someone's borders. Okay, keep exploring. When the Marauders turn Khan, we'll have them surrounded. Yeah. There's actually 2 Marauders on the map, so if I do end up getting a Marauder, a Khan event, it's still a 50-50 of whether it's on my borders or not. But if it's on my borders, I'm going to be rightly messed up. Because the cons are hard. Linear, thank you. Yeah, it's linear growth. And it maxes out at 1,000, which is the maximum of your influence. So if you have 1,000 influence, you can add anything, no matter how far it is. Because it maxes at 1,000. Oh, this is big. So the ethics in the Holy Stormeridian Empire, the Empire of my Overlord, is shifting to spiritualist. With this might signal is that my Overlord is in decline and would free me from my contract without me even having to fight. So previously, I think they were materialist and they're becoming spiritualists. So there are all sorts of radical changes. I'll put it. Radical changes.
System scan complete.
All right, Poggle is about to get a name, so good luck in the raffle there. To anyone in the chat who's been active, and it's going to Techie. Congrats, Techie. I don't have to ban you now. And let's have this construction ship prioritize the societal and then the mining. So I have a little bit of Border Goro with the Marauders here, but they have a fleet strength of like 15,000. I have a fleet strength of 700. I'm in no shape to try to attack them at this moment. Maybe in the future, but not right now. Nick the Good, thanks for gifting out a sub to Tie-Dye. Everything is rigged, says the person that won the only colony. You dang right. Whew. Okay, so another thing is important to know. This is a fallen empire. In the game settings in the setup, you can select how many Marauders you want to have. 0, 1, 2, etc. And then you can select how many fallen empires you have. What a fallen empire is an empire that used to be reign supreme over the galaxy, who has stagnated. So they are no longer expanding. They're no longer really doing all that much diplomacy. But there is some carve-outs and caveats. A holy empire can claim certain worlds as consecrated, which means that if you try to colonize them, they squish you like you're a bug. And here in Delta Pavonis, there is one such world that I suspect is a consecrated world. So there is this walled garden here. This world is called Walled Garden, and it is most assuredly a consecrated world, which means that if I tried to colonize it, they would kill me. There's another really aggressive fallen empire, which is the isolationist empire, the xenophobic empire. And their caveat is if you annex a territory next to their border, they murder you. So you got to be careful of fallen empires. Not all of them are hostile. Some of them are xenophilic. Some of them are friendly. But, you know, there might be some conditions. So here we go. The Walled Garden is indeed a holy world. This planet is considered sacred by the nearby fallen empire. Calling it will anger them greatly. Yeah, they will. Yeah, don't do it. Don't do it unless you can go toe-to-toe with the fallen empires. And I'm just letting you know, you can't early in the game. You just can't. There is no like, oh, I'm a tactical genius. It's, imagine if Goliath was Thanos and David was like Mickey Mouse. Yeah, it's not a fight. It's a complete slaughter. And, just don't do it. I don't know what else to say. I can claim it without colonizing it, though, yes. You can definitely claim them from a holy empire, but you just can't colonize them. For the military isolationists, you can't even claim them.
New technology discovered.
Edix Fun has gone up. Next research I'm going to go for will be eco simulation to get more food out of my farmers. Is there better leaders for me to recruit? Not really, no. So taking a look at my edicts fund, I will turn off Map the Stars and turn on research subsidies. So that means that I'm going to be spending 1 of my unity per month upkeeping research subsidies, but 50 of the 51.3 will be covered by the fund. Uh-oh, my governor died. The drug-abusing governor, so, you know, not unexpected. Let's recruit a new one. I don't like any of you. I'm going to recruit the cheap one, because I'm cheap. And this governor is going to be named Sylvanti. It's totally rigged.
New technology discovered.
Zero-G refineries got done. Let's go with destroyers, which is a bigger ship than the little corvettes I've been using. Another thing that I wanted to check in on is the habitable world survey. I've only surveyed 3 of the 8 required, and this Delta Pavonis world, have I surveyed that yet? No. Okay, that's one of the... So it's been... Wait, 3 of the 8? I guess I started it after getting Sylvanti, so Pterodonus, and then the 2 Delta Pavonis. So it's with my galaxy size, it's really hard to do, because there's a limited amount that I can survey in the first place.
New technology discovered.
And fusion reactors just got researched. Let's go with blue lasers. As you might be able to see, I'm slowly ramping up my military because I border an eradicator who I think will go to war with me soon. So I'm just making sure that I have a capable fleet to be able to handle it. So here I go, retrofitting this fleet, adding in the fusion reactors. And another thing to note is with the tier 2 fusion reactors, the tier 1 fusion reactors, I had a power surplus of 0. The tier 2 fusion reactors, I have a power surplus of 25, and surplus power increases the amount of damage. Now, in my case, it only increases the damage by 2%, but it's still 2%. You can win a fight by 2%. It's rare, but it can be done. But it also allows me to install weapons that are going to hog a lot more power if I need to,
System
or when I have them unlocked. Okay, the archaeology site got finished with the gas structure. Rummaging through the secure safes where the Star Petal's wealthiest clientele stored their personal belongings has revealed a treasure trove of strange artifacts and jewelry. Perhaps the most noteworthy among them found was the Heart of the Pulsar, a unique diamond necklace quite famous in its day for having been worn by 5 different heads of state. I gain 4,000 energy and 5 minor artifacts. And that wraps up the giant gas structure to its completion, which means that Fugle6 here, who's likely to die very soon because he's also a substance abuser, is freed up to do other things. I'm going to have him travel to Yoda Prime and assist research. Doesn't it increase evasion as well? Yeah. Excess power increases evasion by 2% as well. And speed and all that. Experimental research. Oh, so here's a choice for you all. Our research efforts grow ever more important in the light of continuous stream of demands from the Holy Stormeridian Empire. Many of our scientists struggle with this pressure, but we see glimmers of genius and the occasional amazing breakthrough. The latest of these might come from Fugle6, who has designed a set of daring experiments for one of the departments to undertake. The only problem is that the experiments on live Yoda which is our species, are part of every single one of their proposals. Either we sponsor it, or we shut it down. So are we going to experiment on our own species? And if I mouse over this, we don't really know what the benefits or deficits are. So do we experiment on our own people or not? It'll be up to you. I'll give you 1 more minute to vote. Poor Yoda, he's going to be vivisected. But Yoda's the one true god. He can't be vivisected. Alright, it looks like we're sponsoring it. All in the name of science. Let's hope you guys are right. And a new tradition. So, a choice between building upkeep and district upkeep reduced, or build more cheaply and faster. But the left one leads to specialist pop resource output, which I think is the best thing in prosperity, so I'm going to go with the admin operations. So the upkeep and to buildings and districts are reduced, which means my energy credits and minerals should go up as a result. So here is... Oh, this is the Prosnakin. This is my rival. So this purple border here is not yet unmet. It's actually the rival of Prosnakin. So I share a border with a vassal under my feudal lord, my overlord, and then eradicators that want me dead, and belligerent fanatic authoritarians who also want me dead. Yay! That's great. Research rejected. An emissary from our overlord has brought explicit orders to put an end to the Yodarian experiments and tests recently begun on Yoda Prime. While the message did not state any particular reason, it was unambiguous in its meaning. So, overruled. It happens. Yeah, I live in a great neighborhood. Yeah, I have fallen fanatic spiritualists who aren't going to like me very much because I'm a materialist, the opposite of spiritualism. And then eradicators that just want me dead, and authoritarians who completely rival my own governing ethics. The only benefit there is they are xenophiles, so they kind of like me a little bit, but mostly hate me. You know, the neighborhood. Okay, new ruler mandate. The mandate was actually unfulfilled, which I was pretty sure I fulfilled it, but I guess I didn't. And we're going to get a new leader. And we have elected I am Nick the Good, previously a scientist on Yoda Prime, to become next ruler. Which means that the science ship, is now Fugal 6. And Nick the Good is a fortifier, so he builds defensive platforms more cheaply and upgrades star bases more cheaply, and builds more cheaply. So he's a builder. He is Nick the Good Builder. Should be named Bob. And then the scientists that I had got swapped into his position, so I don't really need to change them at all. Oh yeah, and Marauders, of course, and a dragon. Yeah, I'm pinned in by every direction by things that are unkillable for a long time. Otherwise known as a good time. But I'm worming my way out. A defensive pact with my vassal neighbors now. So defensive pact would benefit me if the eradicators decided to go to war with me. The Prince Electorate would be required. It's kind of like NATO, to put it in modern perspectives. It's not a aggressive pact, it's a defensive pact. So anyone that declares war on me also declares war on everyone that I have a defensive pact with. It does cost influence to upkeep, so I'm ignoring it. And Thanatos, the god of death, thank you for the sub. And also, Nick the Good, my esteemed leader here. Thank you for giving out a sub to Tie-Dye, who rated. Hadn't mentioned that till now. So I think the Prosnakin very, very likely will, they've already annexed this here, I think. So I'm sort of competing with them to try to grab as much territory as fast as I can from them. Oh, and they just grabbed this. So this scientist now is going to turn around and go this way. Because there's nothing more eastward that I could even go. I am going to start spying on the Prosnakin instead of my neighbor, the Prince Electorate. I have spied on the Prince Electorate, not enough to even know anything about them. But if you're wondering, the Eradicators are now superior to me, and that's likely as a result of my Scalarium penalties, severely limiting my naval capacity size, which maybe I will be able to out-research. But at this moment, it would be very foolish to go to war with them, because they are more powerful than I am by a factor of like maybe 1.2 to 2 or so. Either twice as strong or like 20% as strong. Either way, avoid them for now and hope to out-tech them. Now, one of the things I can do to increase my odds is to build more anchorages. So at Terodonis, which will eventually be a colony, I'm going to build another starport to become an anchorage. You've been watching Stellaris Overlord, which originally streamed live on Twitch May 17th. If you have any feedback or questions for me, let me know in the comments below. If you'd like to catch a live stream of mine, Rhadamant.com has my stream schedule and countdown timers to upcoming streams. Thank you so very much for watching. A special thank you to all my Patreon patrons, Twitch subscribers, and viewers like you that support the channel. I'll catch you in next episode or an upcoming stream. Farewell, everybody.